Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Mania 4Key World Cup 2025. We've got our opening matchup for the quarterfinals weekend, and oh boy, is it a banger. We've got our number 3 seed South Korea versus our number 6 seed Chile in a winner's bracket showdown to see who stays alive for winter semifinals and who will have to spend the rest of the tournament fighting for their lives in the losers brackets. I am one of your commentators, Toph Daddy, joined here by Sparky. How's it going?
It's going absolutely fantastic, and I don't know about you, Toph. I don't think there could have been a better time for these two to come up against each other than winners quarterfinals. These are two absolute powerhouses of teams assembled here, and the fact that, I genuinely don't know who has the upper hand in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the scores that these two teams were getting in the round of 16, they are so comparable to each other. Chile with a few number ones on the rice pool, a couple, I think one on the LN pool as well. So very strong accuracies on that side. But South Korea, not to fall behind, also has some of the number one scores on the rice pool and sticks well within range of Chile on the hybrids and long notes. I am really excited to see what the pick strategy ends up being because I don't know if there's anything that's particularly safe for either of these sides. But I've so far from how I've seen this tournament go, Chile, one of the best long note teams in the tournament. You know, a little bit off script from what they used to be. You know, 2, 3, 4 years ago. being incredibly good at long notes now, and South Korea kind of the opposite, where they used to be the best long note team of all time, and now maybe wants to stick with the rice side. But we are seeing the bans and protects come out. We see an LN1 protect and an LN2 protect, so both teams looking like they might want to stick around the long note side.
Yeah, the interesting wrinkle there is start seeing the bans coming out. Chile opting to get rid of Hybrid 3 and South Korea opting to get rid of Rice 3. So, not surprising there if you're South Korea.
I totally get the Rice 3 ban from South Korea. 100% zero down my mind that that's the right choice to go with. When you see Muchi on the opponent's team staring you down, ready to get a single digit perfects on that map, just get rid of it. We're not worried about it.
Yeah, don't even think about it. And South Korea opting to go for Hybrid 1 here to start things off.
Wow. Okay, interesting. We actually saw this happen last week too, quite a bit, with Hybrid 1 getting a lot of attention, especially on those first picks. It's an interesting middle ground of straightforward patterns, where it's not full long notes like the LN2, and it's not just basic jump stream where accuracy is king, like for something like Rice 2 or Rice 3. So it gives teams who are more LN inclined, more hybrid inclined, more like just all-rounded inclined to go for something that they can still get good accuracy in.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, I guess, when we say that this is the best time for these two to match up against each other, I mean, what better way to do it than with arguably one of the least committal portions of the map pool. We're not gonna see which way these two teams are gonna like want to trend towards just yet. It'll be interesting to see which of the two will opt to go for or up into the rice pool, because usually we see it happen the other way around, where teams will duke it out on the rice and then dive down into the LNs when absolutely necessary. But I feel like these two are ready to just absolutely scrap over each and every one of those LN picks, but we have to wait and see for that.
Yeah, I mean, this might be like a textbook example of the kind of match that, you know, isn't defined by like the rice and LN dichotomy that we see so often. More so is about individual skill sets between these two teams. Like, I imagine Chile is going to be really, really comfortable on like Rice 2, for example, getting that really strong accuracy. But like when it comes to the tech picks, South Korea might be more inclined to go with those. And same thing goes with the other pools. You already saw South Korea protected long note 1 and Chile protected long note 2. Completely, you know, harkening back to that, Chile wants to go for more accuracy focused stuff. South Korea might want to be more on the tech, more on the release side of things. But this hybrid one, a little bit of a wild card in that sense. But Chile did ban hybrid 3, so it makes sense that South Korea might want to stick with the hybrid pool just to start, keep Chile in an area where they're not necessarily comfortable.
Absolutely, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get this match underway. Bushan Not, and I'm Yi for South Korea going against Muchi, Bambi FNF, and Antarex on the other side. Can Chile pick up an early break point here, or will South Korea start things off on the right foot here with their opening pick?
Yeah, opening pattern's nothing too difficult to deal with. It starts with a little bit of a dense jump stream pattern, but it really starts to pick up once the long notes show up. Accuracy staying pretty similar across the board, and no one really having any major issues. Lowest accuracy in the lobby out of that opening burst is 99.84% on the side of South Korea. We see a couple more accuracy drops, but Muchi holding onto the 99.92 might be enough to actually hold onto an accuracy lead for Chile at the moment, but that score lead on the stream there looking a little bit too sporadic to call a specific lead quite yet, especially with just how strong these players are going.
Yeah, it's an absolute tug of war going through the first third of the map. Gonna get a tiny bit of a reprieve here, a chance for everybody to catch their breath and really take stock of the situation. Right now, there are duels going on all over the place. Middle of the screen, I'm Yi and Bambi canceling each other out. Antarex and Nod canceling each other out. Right now, it really is the difference between Bushan and Muchi on the top sides of the lobby. Muchi ahead by about 0.05%, accounting for what, 2,000 points as Nod goes down into the transition, into the last key eye, last quarter of the map, coming through here. The lead balloons to 10,000 points in favor of Chile.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was 2 misses from Nod as well, back to back. That lead only continues to grow. Nod does make it back to 400 combo, and we get into the densest part of the map with this increasing density with the long notes, but no mistakes, looking like they're coming out. Chile just needs to hold on to combo, and they make it through off of a singular set of misses from South Korea, and an early breakpoint comes out for Chile on Hybrid 1.
Oh boy, it felt for the longest time that that could have gone either which way. Miyuchi with the MVP plot is the only one with a V1SS 134 300s on a map like that is ridiculous. But something we've probably come to expect from them given their performance so far in this tournament. But I mean, Chile with the early breakpoint in the match surely got to give them a tiny bit more confidence going on further into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Big confidence booster to open the matchup against South Korea with a breakpoint. They get their own pick here. They did protect long note 2, so I could see them digging into the long note pool, but we've already seen quite a bit happen. I could see LN2, I could see Rice 2 coming out. Those are the two that I'm kind of staring at as potential areas of attack for Chile. And Rice 4 also potentially on the table in the same kind of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of open up the avenues a little bit here, and just given how well-rounded this Chilean roster has really become, it doesn't really feel like there's a portion of the map pool that they could really avoid, and now at the breakpoint, they can maybe even get a little riskier, go for something to maybe try and pinch the options, but gonna opt for Rice 2 here when all is said and done.
Yeah, I imagine, already given how Hybrid 1's gone, I imagine this is going to turn into a straightforward picks versus more technical picks. I imagine South Korea is going to start moving into like the Hybrid 2s next, or any of the 3 tech picks that we have in the Rice pool, or maybe even their Protect just to try and get themselves a point on the board. But for now, Chile going to stick with straightforward, going with the fast jump stream pick. 252 BPM and OD 8.5 is going to make sure that these players have to flex their accuracy muscles, and we know that there's quite a few players in this lobby that can absolutely do that flexing.
Yeah, this is one of those maps where it's like pinpoint precision is going to be the name of the game, and 200s could swing it. I mean, a miss absolutely blows this wide open like we saw in Hybrid 1, but this is going to come down to the nitty gritty. It's a relatively short map, just shy of 2.5 minutes, and we're just going to have to wait and see. Some substitutions coming through here. Michael Mejor for Chile, and Poca and Gex coming in for South Korea to see if they can make a difference in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said 200s could swing it. Absolutely the case for a map like this, where this is the kind of map in match where I would almost expect a 6-way double S. These two teams are just absolutely insane when it comes to accuracy like this. And 252 BPM certainly within their range. They just need to make sure they don't make any silly mistakes along the way. Ultimately, just given Chile's ability, I imagine they have a little bit of an advantage, and you can see that accuracy advantage coming out. All 3 players, 99.96 or above. South Korea obviously doing a great job themselves with 99.90 FCs and above, but that accuracy from Chile just out of this world. Mewtwo's still holding on to 100% a quarter of the way through.
Nod finding the break going into the second quarter of the map, going to give Chile a bit more of a cushion to work with now. 7,000 points to the good right now, and that's really what we were alluding to when the map before the map started, where it's like a miss could blow this absolutely wide open. Now gonna be relying on a miss from Chile potentially, and they could probably even tank their way through that if they play their cards right. But I mean, ultimately you want to keep the runs as clean as humanly possible. But I mean, right now it just feels like there are 3 absolute machines on one side of the playfield. I mean, Poca and Gex doing everything in their power to try and keep this lead under control, and doing a pretty good job of it as Nod finally comes up to rejoin him above that 400 combo cap, and with a pretty respectable accuracy as well. Half map still has to go. There's still time for South Korea to maybe start clawing some of this back. We see the lead shrinking, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Michael finding a break to match Nods, causing that lead to shrink. I do still think the accuracy advantage is on the side of Chile, with Anthrax and Mewtwo both with absolutely insane accuracy so far, but it becomes within range to take that lead if a couple mistakes come out again. We only have a quarter of the map left, and we've only seen 2 misses, 1 on each side, and if that maintains, Chile will be able to take this. Michael makes it up to 400 combo without too much other error. And that lead looks like it's just about 4,000 points as we get into the final few patterns. And everyone looking very strong, but it's not over until it's over. This is close enough that a miss at the end could swing it. But so far, it doesn't look like that's happening. Last few patterns of the map, accuracy is starting to take over and increase that lead for Chile as they're going to be able to consolidate that lead with their first pick of Rice 2 and bring up a 2-0 lead.
19.
Yeah, that's something.
Just
what I mean, okay.
normal things.
Normal things. And also, I mentioned that this is the kind of map with these two teams where six-way V1SS, certainly possible. We see a five-way, or actually almost a five-way, a four-way technically. No 200s from Michael despite the miss, and Nod finding the miss and 1 200. The only 200 across the board.
That's ridiculous. And I mean, that's just the level that these players push each other to when it comes to these match situations. Like, this is the bar. Like, normally in a, dare I say, quote unquote, normal match, I always like to say is like, oh, 99.7 is usually the bar you want to aim for, get that 990k score. Nah, these guys are shooting for close to 1 mil on some of these maps, because, I mean, you don't have any room for error here.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it turns out, and especially it's how it's turned out in the winners bracket. Just like in the recent years, even in the losers bracket, we've seen some crazy good accuracies, especially when it comes to like those Rice 4, the Jack picks. We've seen some crazy scores just from everyone in this tournament. And South Korea are going to take a little bit of an early timeout here.
Yeah, I mean, losing the opening pick and then finding yourself within touching distance of maybe getting that breakpoint back, maybe just wanting to take a second to kind of reorient, just like take a deep breath, calm down, maybe the nerves, some confidence, regain some of that before making the push into this middle portion of the match, because I feel like there's maybe some deliberation going on, maybe the protect coming through potentially, or do they want to take like a wild swing, go for those like Rice 5, 6, 7 style of picks? So it's interesting to see it this early, but definitely does feel warranted given how those first two picks have gone.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of have to keep in mind, like, that Rice 2 map, an incredible score overall from Chile.
Yeah.
That accuracy was ridiculous, but Michael did find a miss. The only reason that they were able to take that point themselves was because Nod also found a miss. If Chile is feeling a little uncomfortable with keeping combo, even like on something like Rice 2, I could definitely see South Korea wanting to go for more of the maps that would cause misses, would be more likely for players to choke on. Because that's kind of the way in. You got to make sure that Chile can't be comfortable on accuracy, and you have to want that, like, pick maps where they can miss on more reliably.
Yeah, and then, I mean, I guess the flip side of that is how much of a risk are you willing to take to try and get that sort of an edge over the opponent? Because yes, you try and open them up, but then you also don't want to open yourselves up for those potential misses. Because I mean, the current miss count is, dare I say, 2-1. That's it. There's only been 2 misses on one team and 1 on the other.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
But we have only seen one type. Well, I guess 2 types of maps technically. But Hybrid 1 and Rice 2 quite similar in structure. Just Hybrid 1 has a lot of long notes added to it, right? So you kind of are putting yourself in Chile's strong suit immediately by picking something like Hybrid 1, and I think South Korea just needs to move away from that. Luckily for them, a large number of the picks are not that straightforward. You know, left in the pool, I think it's Long Note 2 and Rice 4 left that are particularly straightforward. Arguably Rice 1, which I think is where Chile is going to want to stick around in the pool. So probably going to be going with that Long Note. The Long Note 2, Rice 4, Rice 1. And South Korea basically has to choose from the rest of the pool what they feel most confident in and what they feel they can take an advantage over on Chile.
Absolutely. And I guess the one saving grace for South Korea is the fact that, yes, they do need to get that breakpoint back, but because this is quarterfinals, we do add the extra couple of maps. It's now first to six instead of first to five, and they're going to have to go for the protect here, LN1, to try and reorient themselves a little bit.
Yeah, going for their protect a little bit less straightforward. I think this is a fair pick, and definitely, after giving up the first break point in the match and Chile being up 2-0, making sure that they can get a point on the board or at least put themselves in a position, or as good of a position as possible to get themselves on the board. Certainly not a bad idea here. Because even though it is early on and they have a lot of time to get that break point back, I think establishing establishing points and getting some confidence up in the team is really, really important at a time like this, especially against an opponent like Chile, who's not going to give you much leeway.
Absolutely. It takes a lot to really kind of knock the confidence once Chile really does get the ball rolling, and getting that opening break point really does instill a lot of confidence. So yeah, going back to basics a little bit, maybe just going for something that they know as a team they can maybe swing out a good score on. As we see who has checked in, it's going to be Poka, Nod, and Bushan for South Korea, going up against Miyuchi, Bambi, FNF, and Naito Mare, this time checking in for Chile on this first LN pick of this match.
Yeah, and interesting. We see two mirror mods on Chile's side, so potentially a sign of discomfort from the original patterns, or maybe just some easier accuracy patterns on this mirror side for those two players. But you don't usually hear the word accuracy and LM1 in the same sentence, so we'll have to see how this ends up going. Certainly, already seeing players not quite as accuracy heavy as they were on the first two picks, given how straightforward they were and how difficult some of the releases are in this. And South Korea holding their own at the moment. Naitamari a little bit behind the pack right now at that 99.7 range, and I believe that is giving South Korea a slight accuracy lead for the time being, but it is so close that we're still seeing that tug of war game between the red and blue bar at the bottom.
Yeah, it's about a tenth of a percent separating the two teams as at the moment, but all six of them making it through that opening salvo relatively unscathed. It's really just rushes of 300s on the releases. I haven't seen anybody really take a really hard tumble just yet. And as we continue on, still playing that tug of war here between the two teams. Who is going to be the first one to find either a slip up or just a straight up miss? There's so much time left here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're only a third of the way through. We still have 2 minutes left, and Bouchon is going to find two misses back to back. And Chile, off the consistency that they've had combo wise, is going to take a lead. And that was a big drop. Bouchon was at about 99.8% and dropped down to 99.4. That is now about a 10,000 point lead for Chile as Bouchon gets to 400 combo. And they're going to need to hope for some accuracy drops or misses from the side of Chile. That accuracy was too close for this just to be just for South Korea to be able to come back by accuracy alone. So they'll need to hope that Chile finds some kind of mistake in the second half of this map.
Yeah, arguably one of the worst places to find a drop halfway through. You bleed over those points and if they don't get traded back soon, it really does become a bit of a permanent mark against your team as you continue on through the rest of it. Yes, you do recover, but the amount of accuracy you can cobble back together really does become slim pickings. Thankfully, there's a lot of notes to work with. Already back up with 1300 combo and above that 99.5 mark, but the lead is only growing for the side of Chile for now 10,000 points, kind of in and around that mark. As I mean, so far it's just three pictures of perfection on the other side to contend with. South Korea is gonna need a miss and they're gonna need it fast if they want to try and get themselves back into this.
Absolutely, the consistency really showing its colors for Chile right now as we start to transition into the final chorus of this map. A three-way full combo for Chile, holding up the lead for them going into the last few seconds of the map. Hoka and Nod doing what they can to hold on. Bouchon recovering incredibly, and there's a miss from Naito Mare, and that might be enough. But Bouchon is traded right back, and Chile gets a gift right at the end and might take another break point to bring it to a 3-0 slate.
And they do. They manage to hang on. Little bit of a nervy moment there at the end, but doing more than enough to see it through to the end, getting that second break point and getting South Korea's protect of all things. Oh man, that has to be a massive confidence boost for them going into these next couple of picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And even looking at the scores out, like just in general, South Korea started with the accuracy lead overall, but ended without it. I think even
Mhm.
if Nanomare and Bouchon both full comboed with the same accuracies, Chile might have still taken that.
Yeah, it would have been, I would say about what, 2,000 points of a margin. Definitely would have been much closer, much more nip and tuck, but unfortunately not to be. And it touches on the maybe the hidden element so far in this match, which is just composure, seeing things out through to the end. It's these little hiccups that have been marring these South Korean performances so far in this match, and Chile has really taken advantage as they opt to go for Rice 4 here.
Yes, going with the core jack pick here. Another one that's very scary to look at the Chilean team and know that they have a super team for this kind of map. But of course, South Korea likely not as afraid as many other teams in this tournament, certainly capable of keeping an incredible accuracy on this. This is going to be, if we don't see any misses, I don't want to know what the score difference in this map is going to be.
We are going to be holding our breath going into the last eighth of the map if there are 6 FCs still left on the board. And I imagine the bar is once again like 99.9% accuracy. There is
Oh, it has to be higher. No, it has to be higher than that. It has to be higher than
9.5.
that. 9.5 is more
9.5.
realistic, I think, for a map like this.
Especially
Considering we're getting to 150 BPM. This is the kind of speed where players who are good at core jacks are starting to get comfortable with the speed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to say nowadays. 150, I can't play 150 BPM core jacks. I never could at my peak. But these two teams, South Korea and Chile, I imagine they have 3 players each that can get 99.95 or above on this.
We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, 2 minutes, 15 seconds for us to see what these 6 players are made of. And I mean, right now, they are living up to the billing, not picking up maybe a rush of 300s, maybe a chord not going their way. There's a lot of quads and triples that you can potentially slip up on. But as things stand, 99.99 across the board. Yeah, that tracks for the most part.
Just about tracks. Lowest accuracy on Chile, 99.98%. Actually, 5 players above 99.97 right now. Not the only one a little bit behind right now. So, of course, Chile with a slight accuracy lead. But I mentioned if this ends up being 6 full combos, the score difference is going to be basically negligible. And at this point, if it's 6 full combos, Chile definitely has the advantage. Just with a singular player on South Korea not even doing bad, being 0.07% behind the rest is enough for Chile to establish a small lead right now.
I'm not gonna lie, Toph. I'm looking at these percentages, and I am just shaking my head. There is absolutely no way there are 5 players.
See, I said 99.95 was going to be the bar.
99.98 is the bar right now.
These players are telling us we are wrong and underestimating them.
As they always do, but there's a third of the map left to go here. It is still a tug of war. Bancho is doing everything in his power to try and keep track of the scores. They're all way too close to count, and I feel like the spanner is being thrown into work as every 100th of a percent that Nod climbs up right now is really starting to encroach on this, I'd say, very, very narrow lead that Chile has as we take the first real calm section before diving right back on into this outro. It is 1,300 points in favor of Chile. Can they hang on here?
They just need to hold on to the combos. A rush of 200s could definitely give it over to South Korea. The patterns are coming to a close. The map is about to finish, and Chile trying to hold on and bring themselves another point. And what is this team score? Is that a triple 999? It is! What?
Oh.
What is going on?
That is... Jesus Christ, that is 12. Is that 1,200 points away from a full 3 mil?
1,800, but yes.
I can't math. What in God's name is this lobby score? 5,999 Ks.
How? Wait, hold on. Let me do the
There
math
are
really quick. 40,
there is
78 total 300s on the side of Chile.
that is disgusting. There is a tie between
78
Antarex
total.
and Poca. Like, what? There's two 300 separate Mewtwo and Gex. Like, excuse me?
We were wrong about 99.95, Sparky. What
Listen,
is
man.
going on?
We have been in this situation way more times than I'd like to admit, where we say like, "Oh yeah, there's no way, there's no way."
This team's not real.
These no.
Is it these teams aren't real right now?
Yeah, that's effectively what we're seeing. Like,
there's no way this is 4-0 right now, right?
No, there is no way. Like, everything the one thing that got lost in all of that is the fact that Chile won that pick. I mean, deservedly so. I think you asked them to do that like 5 more times. They maybe replicated once, but like, huh? Okay.
If I was
Whatever.
if I was in the winners bracket, I'd be scared right now. I mean, what they play. Whoever wins this match plays the winner between United States and Vietnam.
Yeah.
If I was one of those two teams, I would be scared right now, seeing what these two teams are putting up right now.
Yeah, like either of these two teams, I wouldn't want to run up against next round. But besides all that, South Korea opting to go for LN3 here, just trying to find something, an opening somewhere in what has been proving to be a really stalwart Chilean resistance.
And this is a scary position to be in, too. Being down 4-0, South Korea needs to win this point because there is still one pick left on the board that Chile, I think, is very comfortable with, and it's their Protect of Long No 2. If South Korea loses this, Chile has an opportunity to pick their Protect and try and win this match.
Yeah, not desperate times is one of those things you can throw out here, but they definitely have the capability of taking points off this Chilean team, and it's got to start here. They have zero room for error from this point on. They got to get those 2 break points back, and I mean, it's just got to start now.
It absolutely does. This might be exactly the type of map to do it on. This one more Jack and Shield focused than the LN1 was, and we saw a mistake come from the Chilean side on that LN1. We also saw a couple come from Bushan on the LN1 from South Korea, but Bushan not in right now. Poca, Nod, and I'm going to be the players in for South Korea trying to get a point on the board. Accuracy, though, right now in favor of Chile, with Ani a little bit behind the rest of the lobby at around 99.65. But goal right now, hold on to combo and look for some mistakes from Chile right now, because they are just on one right now, have not given an inch to South Korea yet.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Just opt for the combo, try to get a consistent score. But Poca going to be the first one finding a miss for the South Koreans, going to help extend this lead for the Chileans. Now 7,000 points to the good going into the second third of the map. But Bambi actually trading that miss back now going into the back half, and a little bit of a messier drop, losing about 0.3%. Gonna shrink this lead ever so slightly within 1,000 points. This is an opportunity for South Korea to try and capitalize. Can they take it here?
Bambi makes it to 400 combo, and it looks like Chile is going to hold on to the lead. You were right. That was a much messier drop from Bambi than we saw from Poca. We're already halfway through this map, and Chile's accuracy lead is helping them maintain it, but it's only about 3,000 points. And Mewtwo, with a break, might just give it over to South Korea and give South Korea an opportunity to take this point, but that lead wants to stay with Chile right now. That was a very clean drop from Mewtwo, and this is so close right now.
Quarter of the map left to go. Next build up, everybody makes it through relatively unscathed. The Yuchi back up over that 400 combo cap, and still with one of the highest accuracies in the lobby. Antorex being the supporting scorer, Poka as well, rivaling that, trying to cancel it out here. And right now, I really do think it rides on the fact that if I'm Yi can build maybe like 0.5% in this outro, maybe they can start chipping away at it. But that deficit really rearing its head here in this outro. 2,300 points. South Korea's still in it potentially, but gonna need something to happen here in this outro for them to try and get this one back.
Yeah, and you can see despite the miss from Poka, they actually have a higher score than I'm Yi, so the accuracy almost looks like it was equivalent to another miss from South Korea there. And that was just enough for Chile to take it by just over 2,000 points, and that is just tragedy.
That is backbreaking. If you are South Korea, your best opportunity. One of the cleaner scores, a 50 from Poka being the break. If they had managed to hang on there, not get that slider break, potentially ringing it back to their side. But I mean, that score from Antorex deserves some shouting out there.
I was gonna say that 994,000. That map is not easy to be consistent. Yeah, I think that was a good score for them.
Yeah, that's definitely worth the pop off. A very well-deserved MVP from them, and they did need those couple extra 1,000 points on their side. They needed that run, lest they give over a point to South Korea. And now, I mean, tough situation.
Is LN2 just the pick?
They're taking a timeout.
Interesting. I think it's fair. Just make sure that they have their bearings. I imagine if Antorex has that reaction in the chat lobby, I can't imagine how they're feeling like in real life. Because I know when I get good scores like that, my adrenaline spikes, and it gets so much worse for me to do the match if I'm not able to calm down.
Yeah, especially with how many maps that Antorex plays in for Chile. I imagine they need them to really kind of like settle down just a little bit before going into their next pick. You don't want that adrenaline to carry over into the next map. Shaky hands and all that kind of can lead to some inadvertent misses on maps thereafter. I mean, these guys, consummate professionals. They've been in situations like this before, but I mean, there's always a chance you don't want to risk it. And I mean, that's what the timeout's for, getting that extra 2 minutes to really just kind of take a deep breath after a performance like that.
Take a deep breath, get some water, get something in your system to calm you down.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be, regardless of how it is for Chile, this might be actually a boon for South Korea if they're able to get some of their own nerves a little bit under control. 3 breakpoints in a row now for Chile there is just, it is backbreaking, but they're going to need to find some resolve. These maps have been so close. I think, as I mentioned, LN2 should be the pick here for Chile. It's the most straightforward pick left in the pool, aside from maybe Rice 1, but it is probably the only one that I think Chile is going to feel like is a guaranteed win.
Yeah, at least in their mind.
Everything else in this pool is up for grabs, especially if South Korea can handle their combo issues that they've been having. If they can take long note 2, there's nothing in my mind that says a reverse sweep is not possible.
It's not over until that last point is won. And in situations like this, the last point is always the hardest one to get, it feels like. So yeah, definitely do not count out South Korea in this position. We've seen stranger things happen in this tournament. This is the breeding pool for these miraculous stories. And if you're Chile, you want to tamp that down as soon as humanly possible. LN2 going to be the pick. Unsurprising when all is said and done. They're Protect. The path of least resistance, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely seems like the kind of pick that Chile would feel comfortable triple FC. And I think Chile is under the impression that if they can get a 3-way FC, they win. Because their accuracy has been just so strong.
Yeah, just keep it clean, keep it simple. Don't throw any unnecessary wild picks into this. Just do what you do what you've practiced, and we're out of here on this next pick. At least that's what Chile's thinking in their minds. But South Korea gonna want to try and say something about that. They don't want to go quietly into the night here, into that lower bracket, if at all possible. So it's gonna be same six we've seen for a couple of picks now: Nod, Bushan, Poka, Muchi, Bambi, and Antarex, in different permutations, of course. But I mean, last chance saloon for South Korea in the winner's side of the bracket. Can they get that first breakpoint and start a comeback?
Has to start now. Chile on the door to winner semifinals to face the winner between the United States and Vietnam. One map away. Another situation where we see a double mirror from Chile. So potentially some comfort issues, but the last time we saw that, it was the non-mirror player who ended up missing on it. So we'll have to see how that ends up going for Chile here. This is a 2.5 minute long note 2 density pick here. So not the shortest of all time. Certainly lots of opportunities to find misses. Accuracy is going to be the main name of the game, and when it comes to accuracy, Chile has been king so far. But we'll have to see if South Korea has anything to say about that.
Yeah, with these density-oriented picks, just a simple misread. Somebody overholding, underholding something, and just spiking the entire next sequence is very much on the cards. And right now, South Korea picking up the early accuracy advantage. Boka and Bushan kind of forming that tandem dynamic duo on the bottom side of their lobby to bring it over to their side by about 1,200 points. Quarter of the map gone already. Everybody comfortably over that 400 combo cap here. It's really going to come down to who can keep it clean, who can maintain that composure through the next 3/4 of the map.
Yeah, a little bit against type. Accuracy lead in favor of South Korea pretty handily, with Bushan and Poka both holding above 99.9. No one on Chile matching them right now, and Nod just holding onto the combo, keeping Bambi under control with a 99.93. And Bambi, as I say their name, is going to find a drop. And South Korea with the strongest lead they've had so far this match, with half the map left to go, and a great opportunity to take a breakpoint and start what could be a comeback, but they have to hold on to the accuracy and the combos. It is imperative that they do so, especially with Muchi starting to creep up on the accuracies of Poka and Bushan.
Yeah, it's going to be one score canceled out before too long once Muchi rises up to match Poka here. Third of the map still left to go. Still, anything can happen. Bambi recovering pretty nicely back up into that 99.7 range, giving themselves a respectable accuracy to work with, ready to capitalize on any potential mistakes from the South Koreans. But for right now, the three-way FC still holding strong with a quarter of the map left to go. 5,000 points to cushion. Still within striking distance if you are Chile. They are not out of this map just yet. But for right now, this is the biggest hill they've had to climb so far in this match. An eighth of the map still left to go. Can South Korea hold on?
I just got really scared. Poka almost dropped an LN there. That really scared me, but they were able to save the combo. Going to last few patterns, and a triple full combo is going to be enough for South Korea to take their first point in the match and start a potential reverse sweep here, taking their first break point and regular point in the match.
Oh, what better map to do it on than on Chile's Protect? The map that they wanted to close this match out on now becomes the boon potentially for the South Koreans to keep this match going at least one map longer.
Wonderful performance from South Korea, and they get a pick here to try and continue the streak here, make it a 2-point streak. They've got one hybrid, one long no, and a few Rice maps available. I think Rice 1 is off the table, but I could see South Korea going for literally anything else that's available to them.
Yeah, now you kind of wonder if maybe that timeout from earlier in the match was a little bit preemptive, because I would love to have an extra 2 minutes to figure out what the heck I'm going to be doing from here on out.
Yeah, Chile is still in an okay position. Rice 1, I think, is a safe-ish pick, though we thought the same thing about Long No too.
Yeah.
But they're in a worse position. I think South Korea has much more of a pick of the litter for like what they would want to go for.
It's going to be hybrid 2 here, so not opting one way or the other, just going to go right down the middle and exhaust the remaining hybrid map in this pool. I don't know how to feel about this one.
As I mentioned, I think any of those 5 picks, right? 5, 6, 7, hybrid 1, LN4, any of those would have worked. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's just about comfort. It's about South Korea feeling comfortable and their expectations of how Chile is going to be able to do it. Chile banned hybrid 3. Remember that.
Yep.
Going back into the hybrid pool to try and trip up Chile on a much more technical pick than hybrid 1, I think is a completely fair. It's a completely fair pick to make in South Korea's side.
Absolutely, and you got to take into consideration one of the longer picks in this pool. I think the first one we've seen over 3 minutes now, so a little bit of room for recovery if you do find an early slip up. But at this point, you really don't want to be tempting fate and giving any sort of an advantage over to the Chileans. So one down, many more to go, but you got to start somewhere. And that ball is going to be rolling up the hill potentially for the South Koreans here as they opt to go for Hybrid 2 to continue that ascension.
Absolutely. And here we go into a much more shield, much more tech heavy hybrid map. Looking for the mistakes from Chile to come out. Accuracy starting off strong for both sides. Nod and Antrax a little behind the other 4 players at the moment. And right now, it looks like Antrax is winning that battle, giving Chile a very slight lead. But like you said, 3 minutes long. And Bouchon and Bambi going to find early breaks, trading back and forth. Bambi's much dirtier, though, and that's going to keep the lead very small for Chile right now.
Yeah, effectively neutralizing each other within a couple of notes of each other. So going to be interesting to see how that trend develops right now. Basically equal between each other. The battle between Poca and Muji going to be raging on strong. Nod and Antarex as well, having a bit of a duel of their own. It is essentially inside of a tent, but Bambi finding a second drop, not answered back this time by the South Koreans. And they're going to eke out a tiny bit of an advantage moving on into the second quarter of the map now.
Absolutely. Look at this score from Poca. Putting the horns to Chile right now, holding a 0.02% higher than Mucci and neutralizing that score, allowing for Bouchon and Nod's accuracies to hold on against the 2 other players on Chile. Looks like we actually have kind of matching accuracies across the board. Poca slightly higher than Mucci, Bouchon with the miss, around the same accuracy as Antarex, and Nod with around the same accuracy as Bambi, but Bambi with those 2 additional misses is giving South Korea a very slight advantage halfway through this map.
Yeah, now the length of the map starts to play a bit of a factor. This is any misses from here on out going to be disastrous for either team. But for right now, South Korea riding the tiniest bit of an advantage. But Poca finding a massive drop after one of the anchors going to swing things back into Chile's favor. About 1,000 points with a third of the map left to go. Relatively clean, but not what you want if you're wanting to hold on to this advantage.
Especially not coming from the player on South Korea with the highest accuracy. They were the one neutralizing Mucci.
Oh no!
Mucci and Bouchon going to match that miss as well, and Chile starting to extend that lead as their combo consistency starts to come back. Bambi with 1,800 combo, Antarex and Mucci holding on to the full combos. Nod the only South Korean with the full combo right now as we get into a more LN heavy section, and that lead is now 10,000 points as Bouchon recovers their combo to 400 and above.
Oh, it's just a battle of composure. Chile has had it in spades in this match. Very few hiccups to speak of throughout. A couple misses here and there, 1 point dropped, but when all is said and done, one of the longer maps in the pool, they've been able to hang on. 2 FCs still on the board. Really high accuracies as well. A little bit too much for the South Koreans to overcome, and it's gonna be another seed upset in this tournament. Chile takes it over South Korea by a score of 6-1, knocking our 3rd seed down into that loser's bracket and moving on in the winners semifinals.
Yeah, that is such a great performance from Chile, but it's such a tragic finish by South Korea, having better accuracy overall than the Chilean side, but those misses were more than enough for Chile to take advantage. And they are going to move on in the winner's bracket, as we've mentioned a couple times, to face the winner between the United States and Vietnam, which will be happening actually in just about 23 hours. So that'll be right around the same time as this match started, just tomorrow. So if you're interested to see who Chile will be facing in the winner's bracket, make sure to tune in for that. But Korea, of course, not eliminated from this tournament, going to be a losers bracket menace. And going into the losers bracket for semifinals, Chile guaranteeing themselves a top 6 finish with this performance today.
Yeah, well done to them. Definitely well deserved. They have been, I mean, year in, year out these last couple of years, it's felt the dark horse status has become potential favorite type of status, maybe. Could be a little too early to call, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on this Chilean roster moving on to the late game of this tournament, because oh boy, this feels like the strongest they've been in years.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they can keep this kind of performance going through the semis and onwards, I absolutely see them getting top 3, if not vying for that #1 spot in the tournament.
Absolutely, but I mean, God, we're singing the plaudits of this Chilean roster. I wish, I really wish there was a way that I could show them that I'm really gunning for them this year. That I want to throw my support behind them, because they it feels like they have something special going on. Toph, is there anything that I could potentially do as a viewer, and well, from my spot as a commentator, is there anything I can do to maybe show them that I'm rooting for them this year?
Well, Sparky, you are in luck, because we have banners on the Osu store. You can go to the Osu store, buy a banner for any of the 32 teams that made it into the bracket stage of this tournament, including those who did not make it to the quarterfinals and have been eliminated already. Just go to the Osu store, pick your favorite team, and it'll only cost you $2.50 USD to put a very shiny, wonderful banner on your profile for the world to see. And on top of that, if you like more than just Chile as a team, you can get more than one banner. I know, I love Chile and Korea. They both had a great performance. So if you want to support both those teams, you can buy 2 banners, one for each team. Or if you're crazy, you can buy all 32 team banners that made it into the bracket stage. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds absolutely banging, my man. And is there maybe, let's say I want to put all my eggs in one basket. Let's say I choose one team. And let's say, just hypothetically, they managed to win the tournament. Is there anything special that happens if that were to happen?
Well, there absolutely is, Sparky. Because if you buy the banner of the team that ends up going all the way and getting first place, winning the tournament, getting that gold medal, you get to keep that banner until next year's iteration of the 4Q World Cup. How does that sound?
That sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and head on over to the O store tonight and get myself a couple of banners, because that sounds pretty dang good. But until then, got a pretty lengthy break between now and the next block of matches, and oh boy, is there quite a run of matches coming up soon. 13 UTC, we're gonna start a long run, so you better be there, because oh boy, there's some pretty intense matchups in that block.
Yeah, definitely don't want to miss any of those, especially since some of them are losers bracket matchups and will decide who makes it into top 12 and who doesn't. It's going to be an exciting time. But make sure you come back in 9 hours at 13 UTC for the first block of matches, which is actually going to have 3 all at the same time. Choose whichever one you want: Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, or Russia, France. All 3 are available. And we hope you come back to support your favorite teams and support this tournament. We'll see you guys then.
Take care, y'all.